corporates are one of the biggest violators of law and rules, there's no doubt about it. But who is going to write about it? Luckily I belong to I'm lucky now to be working for a channel which belongs to the people of this country. I am not nobody can stand today and tell me that nobody can. I'm one of the freest journalists today. Working for the Rajya Sabha television, I am one of the freest journalists today. It's quite amazing. Many of these private channel fellows come to me and tell me, hey, you are the most free person. You don't have any problem tackling on any cases. But I'm telling you, the entire media now, who is going to take up the case against the Ambanis in any media? No newspaper, no television channel, except reporting facts, are not willing to look into what is happening behind in the KG-B6 petroleum block allocations. Because media is completely controlled by them. The corporate control of the media is one of the biggest dangers and threats to Indian democracy today. And however, I for one I don't know how the media is going to get out of the clutches of the corporates. I don't see any. There seems to be a very dark tunnel out there. So how we are going to do this? We don't know. Maybe that is where social media actually is playing some role in bringing to highlight some of these things which don't get rejected in the country. So social media is something which we can hope will be able to bring about, throw some light into all these kinds of things that are happening. But still, the mainstream media is completely under the clutches of corporates, and I don't know how the media will develop.
Any conclusion?
No, I think it's very important to be ethical and also to understand the growing inequity in the society. In some areas, the district magistrate has to pay fees or tax to the outclass, maybe nationalized or other days in the DM used to pay. So there is so much control. Poor, they have no way to go. They will be treated by the state, so they are dwelling ranks of nationalities. So many districts in our country now are controlled by them. So their way of is different. What they are doing is for a complete revolution is very dangerous. They want they succeed in the plan. So I think it's better to have an equitable growth and to be more ethical.
Should we start taking questions? Yeah.
Sir, you talked about the ownership versus management and editorial, all those issues that come into being for the media houses. Now, there is a system of self-regulation that I was asking before in my previous question. Now, in case they have the freedom to regulate themselves, media houses, then don't you think that these issues will come even more? Or do you think that if there is a regulatory body outside to regulate it under certain rules and norms, will then it be better?
This self-law, there is no rule. This is the problem of India. We have no law. You start a television channel, you have not informed the regulatory body, and all these people come and sit together and say that we are regulators. But when you put action against somebody, they will say, I don't pay anything for you, I am quitting. And even the Press Council of India, it's if Nagpur Raju issues a notice, it's my prerogative whether to go or not.
There are two aspects to this. I agree with you. Self-regulation is the only way we can regulate media. I don't think, we have had several discussions with this and we continue to have discussions within the journalistic circles also and outside also. See, the problem is that media, with all its faults, all that which we spoke about just now doesn't mean that, we are completely distressed with media. We are all part of the media and we still, I am an optimist and I still hope that, and despite all the failures, it still is one of the last things which people hope will bring about some justice to this country. Because even now people believe in media, however much they criticize, still if there is a printed word, if you see it on television, people believe it. People would like to believe it. So how to make The problem is this. Self-regulation has been attempted, is being attempted. It doesn't work in the way it needs to work. But what is the alternative? Is the alternative government to have some kind of a regulator? Then we are opening ourselves, the moment we accept that kind of a situation, we are opening ourselves up to a situation where today it may be a very benevolent government, tomorrow it may, we don't know. Day after tomorrow there will be some good government. So we cannot trust any government bodies to regulate the media. We should not trust according to me. However good a person at that particular point of time may be. So the media has to, we are all agonizing on a day-to-day basis how to control, how to do these things. Now this Tarun Tejpal affair has come. Suddenly you find it's been crazy last 8 days on television and newspapers. It's completely mind-boggling and it's very disturbing. For people like us who have been in the media, it's very disturbing what's happening. Why? Because the media itself has just blown the issue out of proportion. It blows the issue out of proportion of many such things where it should not. Now, who will decide how much is enough? So I think that this debate will continue for some time. We don't have an answer to this. Self-regulation is the only answer. Hindu, for example, has an ombudsman, called an ombudsman, has appointed an ombudsman within his organization. NDTV has an ombudsman, Police Surabji is an ombudsman. Some other channels have also tried to create this ombudsman within that, so that you as a viewer will be able to approach the ombudsman and complain to him that so and such a thing which was seen or heard on the channel is not, is not good according to me, it's not right or illegal or whatever it is. So I guess at some point of time, every media house will have to have its own ombudsman to be approached by the ordinary public, and whatever problems which happen there, he should be able to handle. That is one of the solutions which I can see. But I don't think that will also work out fully well.
Yeah, for example, you talk about regulation. Self-regulation is definitely the most ideal piece, but then governmental regulation at times has actually worked. Like for example, after Ashok Mehta's scandal, SEBI was created, the Securities Exchange Board of India. To a large extent, I would say that the discipline in the financial this thing has come only because of SEBI's working. Yes. Yes. So, SEBI has been very, very effective in regulating the financial system in this country to a large extent. Now come to electricity. Now electricity has been...
Rather, the problem is not, in these kind of sectors, whether it's electricity or telecom
or banking or
insurance or whatever, all those regulated, it's a completely different ball game when it comes to the media. You can't equate media regulations.
I was actually going to conclude that. See, media, what is media? I mean, you really have to understand what is media. Media is, everyone wants to know something. Like, everything can't be everywhere, right? We are there. Some of us are chosen. We are there, we are able to track, we are able to convey back to you what we saw without our bias in it. Now, the whole question comes when we put our bias there. That's where the difference between opinionated journalism and normal reporting. Okay, so then what we are talking about is that the third element which is being added, where you pay for your opinions. Now that is worse. So what we are saying is, ultimately, if journalism were to stick to its original role, which is basically to investigate, find out whether it's business media, whether it's political, whatever, and leave you to decide, but provided you are also ready for absorbing that. So on the one hand, the business schools should be able to help the students to really open their mind, to be receptive. On the other hand, the media should be able to bring information to you so that you decide. I don't decide. The minute I decide, that's why editorial page was just one page, only one side of the page. Because editor or the people who write the editorials are people who have got a lot of experience, they can comment legally. or in that sense of the term. They can comment with their profound opinion, profound knowledge or whatever it is. But now it has become like the entire paper is opinion. Now that's not welcome. So that's the other thing that has happened. That's why
Not just word to opinion, now it is written.
it's
Like
and somebody else. Like Radia takes as a classic example. Radia dictates terms to one of the most senior television journalists. And she said, "We're discussing, what should I write?" You know, this tape is very clear. And this is ridiculous. That's not the way things are to be done. So what I think, what Girish was saying is that as you guys go tomorrow and as you take up positions of responsibility in companies, you will come across a lot of times you may have to face this dilemma. The boss is saying this, the market is demanding this, but I know it's unethical. Can I do it or not? I think it should always be a no. There is no other no, no other word to it. It's always should be a no. That's what I would say.
See, add a sentence or two to this conclusion. See, we all are journalists. We have done a lot of journalism for the last 20, 30 years in our respective lives. And when senior people like us paint a green picture about media, it really worries. It's a worrisome thing, but it's true. But it is not that our media is bad or black in isolation. See, in every party, whether it's politics, whether it's society as a whole, the industry, politics, wherever, judiciary. So in every fraternity, every section of society, a lot of disintegration is happening. And it is because we have not respected the values. Values, they may come from any sphere. They may come from our culture, they may come from our education, they may come from our upbringing, they may come from the stuff that you read or see worldwide. So this respect for values has eroded to a great extent, and that is because the entire society is observing this decline. Not just media, not just corporate world, not just politics. So when you guys grow up and become decision makers, wealth creators, so my request would be, I am now working with corporate after 22 years of my journey. So now I see the responsibility of taking a decision is not just of the decision making few people. Nowadays in corporate, they have two different distinct sets. One, they seek opinion of lawyers, so there is a legal set. Then there is a section like people like me who understand politics and system, how bureaucracy works, how systems work. So they seek independent opinion, which is not known as to who is seeking this opinion. If we have to work with government of Maharashtra or government of Tamil Nadu, so how the system works, not only to find loopholes and exploit them, but to correct the system. Because now they are also aware, as he rightly said, regulatory systems are becoming stricter. So you don't have to be on the wrong side, and therefore to take a wise decision, legal decision, a decision that fits into a legal frame has become very important. It has got immense importance in decision making in corporate also. So whenever you guys get into that chair or you step into that shoe, you will also have to understand politics. You rightly said, don't say I hate politics. Understand politics, understand systems, understand bureaucracy, understand media, and then possibly your decision making authority and wisdom will be much more in sync with what is expected, what this country should, in which direction this country should go. So I can't call them panelists, but I open this house and invite all the questions which are there in your minds to anybody.
Thanks a lot for quite a few insights into the economy, polity, and the business curriculum. I have a couple of things here. Looking at the series of scandals that rocked the Indian polity governance and a kind of a political uncertainty, and now we have come to know that the kind of a corporate control of business media, whatever is the nexus. I'm just wondering, I mean, to what extent the Indian economy, the Indian society is in a place to exploit its potential. Say, you have, for example, the growth. Growth is nothing but youth plus decent jobs. As it is, if you are looking at the unemployment figures somewhere around 10 plus 10 to 11, added to that, our Indian economy is underemployed. You know, the so-called disguised unemployment, which is very much prevalent in this country. So I'm just wondering, Indian economy has the prospects of achieving whatever is predicted, either going by the Goldman Sachs report, or is it going the Mexican way? You know, we all of us know, I mean, the way, the path that the Mexican economy has taken. In fact, in recent period, I was going through an article written by a Harvard professor who was actually raising this question, whether Indian economy is heading towards Mexican way. I just want the views of the panel on this.
Please understand that when you read newspapers, there are two kinds of things which are to read. One is what the journalists, the editors, whoever sincerely feel, and one which is there is a very concerted effort going on to influence the economy, to influence the way that we govern things, to influence the policies. Like we have talked of Goldman Sachs report. Today I was reading in the morning, Goldman Sachs says 2014 will be very important for us. After 2014 there will be tremendous changes and things there. Now, I don't know if Goldman Sachs understands Indian politics the way it should be understood. You know, I don't get carried away with Goldman Sachs. Goldman Sachs predictions of what's going to happen to Indian politics and Indian economy is something which I have doubts about. So they seem to have a motivation in creating these kind of situations, these kind of situations. So, you know, so despite all that we said about media and all these things, I am not very pessimistic about Indian economy or Indian. See, there are enough fundamentals which are quite strong in this country. I don't think that we need to be too much worried or be carried away by what some Western or multinational organizations or analysts tell us about us. I think we know what we are, and I think we should be able to manage.
Okay, can I just add a little bit to this? You said Mexican way. Well, Mexican way, Brazilian way, Chinese way, I don't know. Definitely not down. We are not going down the way. We are going up the way. That's for sure. This country is definitely not going down. That's very, very clear. If you take the BRICS debate as a good example, we are part of this group called BRICS, right? The BRICS is basically Brazil, India, Russia, right? China, and South Africa. If you look at these countries, they are very really heterogeneous economies. Each one has got its own strength, and each one has got its own problems. Take the two countries, Brazil and China, and take India. If you take these three as a triangle, it's a very interesting. South Africa, you leave it, because South Africa has its own very, very special problems, which none of the other countries can ever even dream of, and advantages too. Let's talk about Brazil and China and India. China is really on a growth path, it's phenomenal growth path. That's because of a central economy. So the Hong Kong's last governor, he was sharing some opinion with us at some point in time. He said something very interesting. He says, given a chance, my business would like to go to China, but as a person who advises the government, I would say that go to India. Okay, given a chance, my business would go to China. Naturally, this is what is happening in the world. But all at the back of the mind of most of these industrialists, they would rather go to India or go to Brazil. Brazil, they will Brazil is definitely a much bigger economy than us at this point of time. But our competition might come from there. Okay? So, point I'm trying to make is that here are a set of countries which are really going forward, they are expanding, they are doing a lot of things. But the sense of comfort that you get in a democracy like India, you will not get anywhere else. The reason why America grew so much was because it was a democracy. Now they've come at a particular point where they have trillions of dollars of balance of payment debt on their side, negative. And who is the beneficiary of this? It's China. So people are worried because China, if it calls the shots, they ask them to pay back, America will collapse. So we have a serious issue over there. So in this whole scenario, who's the biggest beneficiary going to be? It's us. India is the biggest beneficiary. If you look at it from the positive point of view, there's a huge opportunity waiting to happen in this country. It's already happening in almost all the sectors. That's one of the reasons why, again, slightly lighter than I can tell you, many of us are traveling abroad, I can tell you. 10 years back or even, 10 years back I would say, up to 10 years back, if as an Indian, I go with my Indian passport, generally, there is a lot of negative vibes that you get from them, right? Now, with the same Indian passport, I can, jump any queue and nobody would even mind it. Indian passport has got tremendous value today in anywhere in the world, especially in the US. Wherever you go, you say Indian, immediately there is respect. The reason is why? Because people are looking at us seriously. Forget Goldman Sachs. Every other American report, Standard & Poor, or any of these PwC, all these guys will say the same thing. They will say, given a chance, they will say India is definitely going to go forward. They have to say it because that is the reality. Whether you like it or not, this country is on a growth path. Nobody can stop it, including Indians. They try. Okay.
Any more questions?
We are discussing the impact of media on business. I have a small question here. At the end of the day, media itself is a business. And there is a cutthroat among different media houses to grab the share of the pie. So don't you think that this leads to killing of the real motive for which the media works or media should work? Because everybody wants to say that our channel was the first one, our paper was the first one who got this special report, this special story to all of you. So my question is, doesn't this create a contradiction that media under such circumstances can't be free of biases?
Can't be?
Can it be free of biases?
That's what we discussed. I don't think is a problem which I would have. Or if somebody claiming that we are the first channel to come out, that's fine. These are all part of fair competition, sometimes unfair competition, which is always which can be. I don't think there should be a problem. The only problem is when unethical practices get into the business of journalism. That is where the problem lies. And those unethical practices are visible nowadays. Are visible, some of them are visible very overtly, some very coldly. So that is where the problem lies. So, but once the unethical practices tries to kill each other, then that's a problem and it's happening. That's a matter of serious concern. What you say is correct, that competition is fine, competition is necessary, competition is good, but unethical, unfair competition, unethical, unfair practices, which we are seeing in some aspects of journalism, is something which is a threat to the media itself.
Yeah, just one small thing. That is, we don't want cola bars. In the famous cola bars, you must have heard about the Pepsi and the Coke.
Cola wars.
Cola bars. Cola bars is what
We don't know what is happening.
Yeah. If this guy will go and break that guy's bottle and that guy will break this guy's bottle. So that the turnaround is not there. That's cola war.
But the cola wars are happening. Times India group has managed to kill some other newspapers, the competitor and rivals, and it's a major problem.
Yeah, sorry, there is a question.
You may go ahead, but I just wanted to add one point relevant to that, if you allow. I think this idea came to my mind as he asked that question. I think there is super competition on media also. Like let's talk about, we are talking about that, and if you look at the funding of media, with healthcare now crumbling down, the funding of healthcare is actually now coming up. Most of the media, I think, other than probably Bennett, Coleman, who is profitable, I don't know, you will be knowing how much is the profitability, how much is the black money, how much is the white money, how much is the hawala money. But the question is that even if it is losing money, people don't care because they think that this serves another purpose. Media not only can lose money, but it serves another purpose. If I am not mistaken, the number of TV channels in India is much more than US plus Europe plus China put together. Number of print newspapers, periodicals, weeklies, much more in India, be it English or vernacular is much more. That means we don't have a critical mass also, and the impact is also therefore getting reduced. And they have different purposes rather than actually journalistic. You say it's a business. If it is to a business, it has to be run like a business. And I think, though I don't want to say the panel two sides, that two of the panel members are more from business media, two of them are from general media. So they are trying to highlight that business media needs to serve business interests also, don't deny that. But business interests should not be against the interest of the society, that in the long term doesn't work out. So I think when you talk about media as a business, I don't think majority of them do look at media as a business other than a very, very few in India. They don't mind losing money. Still, whether they will be ethical or not, that question needs to be answered by media.